Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news, this time for the week ending the 30th of April. We take all the official news from the week and then beat it into submission and stand atop it victorious like a gladiator. The newsletter this week, Chris Roberts wrote quite a long letter from the chairman in the newsletter, thanking backers for gathering almost 150 million, reiterating that the money funded before the game's release at this stage will go fully into the development of the game, and reminding backers that they don't need to buy all the ships. They love the support, but all you really need to get involved is that $45 game package, and what they want you to do is play the game, report bugs, give feedback, and help with the development of Star Citizen. That's super important. Obviously, they quite enjoy the money as well, because it allows them to build a better game. It's quite a heartfelt affirmation of the Star Citizen vision, like reaffirmation, and it is much worth a read, and I will link it in the description below, as with the whole newsletter. The 3.0 schedule report update. So every Friday, they update the schedule report for 3.0. Quantum Drive for item 2.0, the new insurance mechanic, UI, Moby-Glass stuff, engine trails, the shop system, weapons and reworks have all slipped a few days and have been slightly delayed on their current schedule, but they're all still within the estimated time frame to make a possible 29th of June live release a possibility. In each section of the schedule report, it now details how complete in that relevant section is, so it looks like networking and all that sort of jazz, and says this has already been completed. This actually reveals as well that quite a lot of important things have been done, especially for 3.0 already completed. The PU being converted into the object container system, or at least being set up for it. It's got the mega map in, it's got base subsumption for the AI and the mission systems and the economy and all that sort of jazz. Lots of item 2.0 functionality, and obviously the moons and the landings. I mean, they're pretty important as well, but they've already been completed, so that's pretty exciting. In quantum questions, Mark Abent talked about some of the stuff that he's been working on. Currently, turrets are getting a lot of love, and there's going to be a lot better gameplay to come in the near future for turrets. Obviously, turrets in ships need to be competitive and preferred to use rather than slaving them so they only shoot forward from the pilot that's flying. You want people to be able to use those gun turrets and for it to be an advantage for them to use it. Item System 2.0 apparently works. The whole infrastructure is there and ready to go. It's just the refactor of the items and getting those items in now. Data Forge is a replacement for the XML scripting language that they still use. It's much more efficient and hasn't replaced XML entirely, but they are replacing XML where they can with this more efficient version of coding and all that sort of jazz. Data Forge. Retractable wings on ships will be unlinked from landing gear in Item System 2.0 as well. We saw a sneaky peeky at the new Vandal. I say new Vandal, the kind of the updated Vandal concept. Hopefully we shall be seeing more about the Vandal species soon. But they look like scary shark lizard people, 7 foot tall, all that sort of jazz. And I actually really like the way they've moved on. Obviously the previous Vandal we had were a significantly lower fidelity. Fidelity being the word of the century for Star Citizen. Sales! So the Defender, the brand new Defender, is still on concept sale until May the 1st. The FAQ came out too and confirmed that they're going to fix the visibility of the cockpits, so the view's not going to be blocked, and it is kind of top tier dogfighter-esque fighter when it compares to the Super Hornet and Sabre, where the best pilot would win, but they're all different play styles, although I think some people are still going to prefer that Super Hornet and Sabre over it for a dogfighter. I've got a full ship buyer's guide and FAQ on that as well, so have a look at that. Also take a closer look at the Banu. Links in the description for all that jazz. They've also updated the merchandise on the RSI website too, and made kind of, I think, the items cheaper, but they've separated shipping, so it's not necessarily cheaper. In fact, it's not cheaper when you add the shipping. Expect to see more merch over the coming weeks, with shipping from around $8 if you're in the US, a bit more around the world. Sometimes some places were still $8. ATV was this week focused on Frankfurt, and as such is very exciting. We were actually got quite a visual treat when it came to the planets and planetoids and moons and that sort of stuff. The VFX guys have been fleshing out procedural planets and their effects in engines. They show geysers on Selin, for an example. The cinematics guys have been further working on performance capture scenes and the script for Squadron 42, getting the scenes for that done, especially focusing on the Shuban mining facility to get that finalised, as well as some opening story events. The environments guys have been fleshing out procedural terrain elements of Delamar, which is the Nyx landing zone. It's a planetoid, lots of spikes and peaks, very spiky. They have also added more polished mining machines in appropriate areas around that site as well. The moons have been getting a lot of attention and polish and are looking amazing. The procedural object scanning system seems to work pretty well, though I did kind of see a few object and shadow displacement things like floating rocks and that sort of jazz, and that style of stuff will get refined and start to look even better and better even before that 3.0 release. Level design has finished the design pass on outposts, which have now moved on to the art team. They're going to continue to work on some of the modular systems for those outposts and that sort of jazz as well. Levski has received some work as well, the landing zone for Delamar. They are integrating it into the procedural version of that planetoid, linking airlocks to the surface and looking at future fast transport around the area. There's garages, admin offices, work areas, roads, lots of space there as well. It's looking pretty cool. Tech Art, they've been working on locomotion and getting the speeds of turns right and the weight of movement, so that characters look at whatever speed they're going or whatever they're doing, like they're moving correctly at the right weight and gait and all that sort of jazz. They've worked on various player states, including drinking, being out of stamina, out of oxygen, various environmental hazards, as well as suit punches, repairing them, recharging your oxygen. The usables are now being mass-produced for levels and work with players and AI. You're going to be able to interact with almost anything in the verse: walls, beds, lockers, bars, and multiple people or multiple AI and people will be able to interact with the same objects and that sort of stuff. Spectrum has started to be integrated into the game from the Frankfurt end anyway. They've been testing 3.0 at the QA, or with the QA guys, using object container setup stuff, hammering out the bugs there, because obviously the whole of that persistent universe has been smashed and recreated in the object container setup system. Lighting have been working on moons and surface outposts. Light groups have also been phased into to allow better optimization for lights, but also more light control. Work on the movement systems as well for NPCs, allowing greater control for their movement in ships, and making the kind of universe feel more alive in the way they move, but also gives NPCs and AI a way to contextualize their actions. NPC pathfinding and zoning has also been improved too. They have more efficient setup tools in the form of platforms now, which is all part of the item and object container systems. So platforms basically contain a list of items in object containers and their coordinates. You could set up an Idris, for example, with items and specific systems as a platform and spawn them in. The FPS guys have made a load of new guns for first-person shooter stuff. 2 Vandal weapons, 4 Castak arms weapons, 3 Gemini weapons, and 1 K-Hex weapon. Ship weapons as well. They have pushed on with the size 2 and 3 Knightsbridge Arms ballistic cannon. These are the first new pipeline weapons for ship weapons, ready for modularity too. We're quite interested to see what that modularity is going to bring when it comes to ship weapons, so we will have to wait and see. Lots of work on object containers as well, as we discussed earlier, as well as code cleaning. They house cleaned a lot of the code, made their ways that they compile everything a lot more efficient. Impressively, we see some of the new moons from ground to space panning out with the improvements that they've been making over the last few months, and this is pretty breathtaking and makes it all worthwhile covering Star Citizen, seeing stuff like this where you go, that's pretty cool. And that's kind of it for the Star Citizen news this week. I am very much looking forward to exploring moons. It's the last chance as well to get into the April giveaway for our Drake Buccaneer. All you've got to do is be a subscriber on the YouTubes and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during that month. So please tell me, does moon and planetoid landing in 3.0 excite you, or are you all about space combat and you don't really care about that planetary exploration stuff and it's just sort of like a cool little extra feature? Did you pick up a Banu Defender? Are you excited about any of the other concept sales coming up? What did you think of the Vandal update? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you think they should be working on other stuff and not updating the Vandal concept stuff? A massive thank you to my Patreons. Literally every dollar helps me creating content and improving it too. You guys rock. If you want to help me on the Patreons, link below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I will see you in the verse. One actually last thing, I'm considering getting a tattoo, like a space skin or someone's referral code or something silly on my arm as a tattoo. Suggestions for that, because I'm thinking what we'll do, because it's going to be for various mental health foundations in the UK, the US, and probably Europe as well. We'll take a vote of what particular tattoo we'll get, but I will vet the list before I allow people to vote on it. So suggestions for tattoos on my forearm that can be a bit silly to help raise money for some charity. Anyway, guys, you take care, and I'll see you in the verse.